Okay, hello, welcome to Empires of the Undergrowth. This is a game I first played back when it was still in alpha, back when my channel was still very new, nearly 6 years ago, and it's been in active development ever since, so things have changed quite a lot since that time, and I'm going to revisit it now because they have just released the Fire Ant release, which adds a new faction. I guess you could call it a faction, it's a bit weird calling ants factions, a new type of ant into the game called the Fire Ant. So we're going to play a pretty basic setup here, so just to explain the basics of the game, you essentially take control of an ant colony. You have to kind of build a nest in the underground, and ultimately you break through to the surface, where you try to kind of secure your position in the overworld, which is called the Undergrowth. Usually to win the game you have to fulfill a specific objective, but in this case we're going to be playing a basic Conquest type of game. We're going to be playing, as I mentioned, as the Fire Ants, and we're going to take one ally, which is going to be the big-headed ant. That's one of the new species also added. There's also the little black ant, but I think the big-headed ant is a little bit more visually distinctive. We're going to be playing against a team of 2, which will consist of wood ants and leafcutter ants. Those are 2 of the kind of more fleshed out factions, if you can call them that. More fleshed out types of ants. And playing as the Fire Ants, we're given a choice between 2 different options for our soldiers. The first is called Pervasive, and Pervasive allows our ants to continue producing from their nests, even if you don't actually have an active food supply. There's also another bonus called Vigorous, which you can choose instead, which causes the ants to have a brief boost to their attack, damage, speed, and resistance, which ultimately will wear out. I personally prefer Pervasive because I think it works quite nicely as a bit of an insurance policy for this type of ant, because even if you don't have a good supply of food, your ants will continue to hatch, at least for a while. Now this game I've not really touched in those last 6 years, so I'm not exactly a pro at this. I'm going to be going with a pretty simple setup. We're going to have one enemy, which is the wood ant, who will be set as medium difficulty. Other enemy will be set as easy difficulty. And we're going to switch off the AI cheats, because the AI does get the opportunity to cheat, start off with develop base, for example, start off with free resources. I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to go for the fairly basic setup, because the purpose of this video is really just to kind of show off the game and what it's like. It will seem very familiar to anyone who's played Dungeon Keeper. It's quite similar to that game in quite a lot of ways. But there are some pretty significant differences, and I will be explaining the basic concepts of the game as we go. Okay, so we start off with just a queen and 3 worker hatchlings, and we're going to start by going immediately to the northeast. Our workers will tunnel through there, and we've immediately got access to a little bit of food. So we bring that back, and each of these eggs costs us 2 food to hatch. So queen naturally starts off with the ability to produce 7 different workers. We're going to move those to group 1. And by doing that, we're able to start summoning them with a pheromone, which causes them to bring food back to the nest. So that's a very basic start. We have access to some more food, but it's very difficult to reach. It's very well guarded. So we're going to have to find a way to start producing some more workers, or possibly some soldiers, because we do not have good access to food at all on this particular map. So we're going to open that up a bit more. We're going to start tunneling to the south, and move these guys back to the main kind of nest holding group. So we tunnel to the south, and this little area here denotes the way through to the overground, and we're going to be kind of forced to go in that direction. I don't think we have much of a choice, so let's at least open it up, see what the situation is. And we're going to also create a little pod. It's going to be where we start producing either some workers or some soldiers. First, let's see what's going on. So this is the surface, and we can see we've got some hostile creatures to the south of our anthill, and not many other good sources of food. So this could work. If we go for these, we need to actually produce some more workers first. So we're going to place our first worker tile just here. Place 3 of those. So these cost 20 food each. We have 45 food left, and we're going to produce a couple more with our remaining food. So we're going to be producing a total of 5 extra ants if we can afford to feed them, which we can because they cost 2 each to hatch. So the way these tiles work is they all produce ants over time. The ants will hatch for minus 2 food, and there will then be another egg that grows, and those eggs can then hatch if the original ant is killed. So it doesn't matter too much if you take losses, as long as you have enough food to sustain production. So we're going to move all of these guys to pheromone group 1. And we're going to go out into the surface, and we're going to go in this direction because it's the safest direction I can see. We're desperate for food. Really scarce resources on this map. we're going to grab as much food as we can, and we're going to try and produce some soldiers, so we can actually start going for a proper supply of food. Because yeah, this map is pretty dangerous and pretty stingy. So our workers are bringing food back to the nest, and I think we need to open up a new pod. So let's open up that pod to the south. Let's go for this. This will be our soldier ant production. And we also need a place to place food. So we can place food around the queen, but that's a bit slow. We want to place food, ideally around the entrance to the overworld. Let's open this up a bit. Bring some of these ants back. So the 7 original ants are now going to work on tending the nest, and the 5 worker ants are going to be focused above ground on continuing to gather up food. So worker ants have started opening this stuff up, and they're also going to place the first food tile there. It's going to give us a bit of an easier way to start storing some food. We've already filled up our supplies, so let's place a few more of those tiles, and in this tile we're going to place our first soldier, which costs us 40 food to place the tile. In order to hatch this, we need 4 food, so it's not too expensive to do, and similar to the worker tiles, this is going to produce 1 soldier as long as we can feed it. Then it's going to produce another egg, and if that soldier dies, it will produce another soldier in its place. So as long as we keep the food coming, we should be okay, and as the fire ants, we do have the Pervasive ability, which means we are able to continue hatching ants from time to time, even without spending food. It's a really great ability, and I think really beginner friendly too. So we're going to move the ants to our group 1, and they're going to work as protectors for our workers. They can also gather food, so that helps too, but this particular place seems pretty safe, I think. Yeah, so we go to attack this ladybird, but the ladybird, I think, won't attack us back. It's a bit of a waste of time to attack this, we're not going to kill it off. But once the distraction is gone, our ants go back to pick up some more food. We can see the soldier is a lot bigger. Not any faster, but he is bigger, and he's going to bring some food back. We're going to place a few more soldiers, and try and get strong as soon as we can. If we look at our ally, we can see they are already a lot more active than us, but hopefully we can catch up. We are under attack. No, we're not under attack, it's just the ladybird, which is not going to do any harm to us. But if we look around, at some point, some of these creatures are going to start encroaching on us a bit, so we do have to be a little bit careful. Okay, let's go back underground. Let's spend some more of this food. Let's try and produce soldiers as quickly as possible so we can actually put up some kind of fight. And let's produce a few more workers too. Okay, so looking above ground, this is still a pretty good supply of food. There's still quite a lot left, but potentially is going to exhaust itself pretty soon, so we need to consider alternatives. This is not a particularly difficult fight if we have enough fighters. So I'm going to send everyone in this direction. I think we can take this on, although for now, this is probably still fine. Let's not overstretch ourselves.
This colony must remain small for now. Food is too scarce to support greater numbers.
So we're going to place a few more workers, and we should have a pretty balanced supply of both types of ants at that point. So the way this works is you can upgrade your various ant tiles, and the way you need to do that is you need to spend the same amount that you've already spent. So for example, a worker costs 20, you can upgrade the worker tile for 20 food. But you need to surround it with either the same type of tile, or you need to surround it with walls instead. So the game does kind of incentivize you to really focus on building up these little pods instead of just having kind of an open plan. Okay, we're going to try and take this fight, but we're going to wait till we build up a bit more because there are 4 of these little larvae just here, and we need to be pretty strong to take those on. We need to have a good supply of forces. We should probably move these to a separate pheromone group and send the soldiers in first. So soldiers are gathered up. We've got 8 soldiers in total. We're going to send in the workers too just to help out because I'm not sure we're quite strong enough to go for this just yet. Some soldiers are at risk of being killed off, but with the help of the workers, can't really zoom in enough for this to really be seen. This is kind of one of the things that I would probably criticize a bit about this game is I do think the zoom would benefit from a few more options. Be able to zoom in a bit further and zoom out a bit further. These aphids have regenerated. I think they're aphids. they've regenerated, so we're going to send our workers over to that. They should be fine. We're going to leave our soldiers to focus on all of this stuff. Keep gathering up the food. Our food stores are now full. So another reason to build into caverns is because if you actually walk over these tiles, it slows you down. Whereas if you have these corridors which are empty, your workers and your soldiers can move a little bit faster. And you can also place these speed tiles, which will also speed up your ants as they cross. So that's a good one to go for, just to make sure your ants are moving as quickly as possible, keep things as efficient as possible. Okay, let's produce a few more workers potentially, and let's definitely go for a few more soldiers if we can. So we've got a full supply of food. I think we want to open this up a bit more. Lay down some more food supplies. So our 7 basic ants are going to work on that stuff as we look above ground. You can see we've still got a good supply of food just there, so that's perfect. Our ants have finished off, our soldiers have finished off all of this stuff. So we can consider going to the west instead. Take on some of these grasshoppers, but I think they're grasshoppers, I'm not really sure what those are. But I think those are a bit tougher, so maybe we don't go for that just yet. If we look far to the east, we can see more grasshoppers, and if we look to the north, we can see some kind of larger species of ant. So we don't really want to take that on. Best option for now is to continue going for the aphids, which are supplying us quite well. We should probably take some kind of fight, so let's go to the west with our soldiers. And let's produce a few more soldiers if we can. So we're going to open up this cavern a bit more, and we're going to actually start upgrading some of these tiles. So right now we can see each tile has just one yellow rhombus, but if you upgrade the tile it will switch to a second yellow rhombus, which increases the strength of the soldiers produced by that tile. In total there are 3 different levels of ants, so once we've upgraded this to level 2, it's going to make them stronger, but ideally you want to get to level 3 as soon as possible, because level 3 is going to produce 2 ants per tile instead of 1, and also is going to make each of those ants even stronger. So sooner we can get to that the better, but for now we want to fill out this cavern as quickly as we can. So soldiers are keeping busy. It looks like they have successfully taken on the grasshopper, so let's go further to the west. I'm not sure if this is a grasshopper, but it looks like we're easily strong enough to take these on, as long as we take them on one at a time. They die off, they leave a little bit of food, and we can wait for some more to gather up. Just gather as much food from that as we can. Go back underground. Lay down some more soldiers. Lay down some more food stores. Okay, so some hatchlings are using up a bit of our food at the moment. If we look over in this direction, aphid's still producing a good amount of food, so I think we leave that stuff be. Go back underground. Food production seems to have slowed down a bit, but see what these guys are up to. Still taking fights, still winning them. And if we look to the south, there's some kind of spider. I think it's a harvestman. I'm not sure we're strong enough to go for that. This is a mantis. Surprised we could take that on, but we do win. We are producing more soldiers slowly. Keep laying down some soldier production. So you can turn off this UI stuff if you think it's a little bit intrusive, but it does tell you what's going on with the tiles, so it is pretty useful, I think. Okay, so we've nearly filled this out, and we still have 113 left. So let's go for a couple of tile upgrades. Let's focus on the middle first. So if we were to try to upgrade some of these final tiles, we need to make sure that any tile we upgrade is surrounded by... So for example, if we upgrade a second level tile, it needs to be surrounded by other second level tiles. So we need to focus on these middle tiles first. And if we look back above ground, soldiers still winning just about every fight. Workers still busy with the aphids, but that's really running out. Not a great food supply at this point. If we look at alternatives, there's one just there. We're going to go for that instead. So our ally is the blue player, or the yellow player in fact. So we need to be a bit careful. If we get too close to this, we're going to end up fighting this player instead, this colony. And this colony has access to a fish, and the fish provides 915 food. So that is so much better than what we have access to. I'm pretty jealous. But I'm not going to start a fight with them. I don't think we're ready for that. There's some food up there too. We can maybe go with a second pod of workers, I think, just to focus them on different things. So we're going to produce some workers just there. So any adjoining hexes will produce workers in the same group. So this is one group, for example. This is our group of 12 workers. This is our group of soldiers, which is all joined together. So that's 29 soldiers in total, of which 26 are currently hatched. We're making a new pod of workers, which we can assign to a different pheromone group, just so we can kind of diversify what we're up to. Okay, so still gathering food in this direction. This player isn't really going for the fish, so I'm actually pretty tempted to go for that. I think we're going to lay down some more workers. Let's lay down some more in this part too. So yeah, workers can dig, they can do work around the nest, but not very effective fighters. For the most part, I think more useful to focus on fighters. There is a population limit, which we can see to the top of the screen. So we currently have 33% of our available workers before they start getting more expensive, and only 12% of our available soldiers. So definitely focusing on soldiers does make sense. Okay, so in terms of food supply, I think
there's not enough food to feed the new breed.
we need to find something to do with our soldiers, and I think we're going to go in this direction. And since this player is not really going for the... well, they're kind of going for the fish, but I think we have to go and take them on, because this is so much better as a food source than anything we have access to, although we're kind of blocked off by some more of these grasshopper things. I think they are grasshoppers. We're kind of blocked off by some of those. They're fighting against the mantis, so we can just claim the spores of war, depending on who wins. So we're going to send our soldiers up in that direction. We're going to keep our workers focused on whatever's relatively safe. So workers are going for that for now. We've got another pod of 10 workers we've now produced. Pheromone group 3. We're going to send those guys to somewhere else that's pretty safe. So this location looks okay. Let's go for that. We've got our soldiers nearby. Soldiers, there should be a lot more of them, but because they're all busy gathering food, a lot of them are currently missing in action. Okay, so let's do some more upgrades. So we've upgraded a few in the center, let's upgrade a few more. And we've got 54 food, so we're pretty close to being able to upgrade this hex just in the middle to a 3rd tier hex. So this is now surrounded by other 2nd tier hexes, so we can upgrade it one final time. And this will now produce 2 fire ants, despite it being just the 1 hex. So that's perfect. Okay, so we are potentially going to find ourselves in combat pretty soon with another player, but that player is being fought by the grasshoppers too. I think these are mostly workers. Yeah, workers being surrounded and killed off by the grasshoppers. A few soldiers in there. But that's good, it's keeping them distracted. We'll keep our workers moving towards the east. They are currently set to gather food, and I think because we are about to take on a 2nd player, we want to actually focus on gathering up and being as strong as possible, so we're going to disable the food gathering for our soldiers, and we're going to produce a few more workers. Let's actually expand this. Leave the food gathering to our workers, and focus the soldiers purely on combat, because you really need a critical mass to really succeed. So if we just surround this fish, and if we produce a new pod of workers, let's go quite far to the west. We're going to make another pod of workers, and we're going to focus some of our workers on the fish. So let's take this group of 16, let's focus those on the fish. So these are mostly our soldiers. We can see they've got the red icon, meaning they're soldiers, and we can see these yellow ants are coming towards us. But as soon as they take on our ants, they are getting destroyed by us. And we can see some of our ants are much bigger than the others. I think I did see our elite ant in there somewhere. But yeah, we've got our first pheromone group coming towards the fish, so we should be able to gather quite a bit of food from that. Just check we're not being killed off on the way. So we're going to send group 3 to go for this, because this is quite easy to go for now. This stuff's all been opened up, so let's go for some more workers on these tiles. So yeah, if you want to upgrade your hexes, you do want to surround it with either the same type of hex or with walls. So some of these chambers are probably a bit too big, but I think that's fine for now. Let's expand our food stores a bit. And let's do some more upgrading. Okay, so food supply is not amazing. We could probably take this player on, but I think for now, we're going to keep taking advantage of the fish. So we need more workers in this first group, for sure. Yeah, they're still going for the food. It's kind of annoying. Let's make sure we scare them off. If we go too close, we are going to end up storming into their anthill. But, hang on a minute. These are allies. Okay, this is really embarrassing. I think those are actually our allies. I thought that ally was the yellow player. I got really confused. Okay, so we're actually... Hang on, I've been confused this whole time. Yeah, like I said, I'm still learning this game. That was actually our ally. So we weren't fighting them at all. No wonder that was weirdly peaceful. Okay, we've got another fish available pretty close to our ally just up there. So let's go for that too. So we're going to send one group of workers to go for that fish, another group of workers to go for... Well, this fish has been finished off. We're going to start gathering food again. So yeah, our enemies are actually across this little land bridge. And they're not ready to fight us just yet, although there is a fish just there which we could go for. If we look to the southwest, there are quite a few things down there. I think I will actually go for these because we can get food from them, and they are potentially a threat to our workers. Okay, food supplies are all full up, so let's finish constructing this stuff. And let's do some more upgrading. So I want as many level 3s as possible. So yeah, this tile's neighbours are not fully developed, so we need to upgrade these two first. Then we can upgrade this one potentially, if we have enough food, which we should. Just need our workers to come over, finish this off. Okay, so that should be... I think it's four third tier hexes now. So we should have some very strong ants. And we're going to send those ants over in this direction to take on these beetles. So they've got a spraying attack which scares off our ants temporarily, but they can only do that once each, I think. So we can still overwhelm them. Food stores are still full, so things are going very well. Let's expand this some more and do some more upgrading. So some of our workers are going towards this, that's still happening. We're going to move this group of 14 to the 4th group, and we're going to send the 4th group. I'm not exactly sure where. We could try and go for this fish. Problem is, this will put us in direct combat with the leaf eater ants. I was wondering why they weren't going for that. It's because these are the leaf eaters, so they're going for the leaves instead. That's kind of how their faction works. This is a bit dangerous, but we're going to try it. Lay down some more soldiers. And let's open up our food supplies a bit more. And let's get some more workers in this group. Okay, so that's all filled out. So I think from now on we want to start focusing on soldiers, and what I might do is I'm going to actually create a new pod of soldiers, which are going to spawn around here. Maybe a bit smaller for now. So we're going to have a second pod of workers, and the purpose, or soldiers even, and the purpose of those soldiers is we're going to use those purely defensively. Let's go for a fight with these two, that should be fine. So we've got lots of idle soldiers who are going to go to the southwest, take on these beetles. Okay, so if we look over here, we can see we are going for the fish, and the leafcutter ants have decided we're not close enough to bother them. So we're getting a lot of free food from there, that's absolutely perfect. We're actually completely overstocked. I'm going to move a group of 14 workers back to the main group just to make sure we keep things being done in our starting zone. Let's expand the food stores. And let's do some more upgrading. Okay, so we finished filling out that pod. This pod is being worked on too. Okay, so the only thing about this is that was our group 4, which was working on the fish. We need to move another group of workers to work on that, I think. So this is now a group of 19. I think we'll put them back on that. We move this group of 14 back into the main group, and group 1 is currently focused on... Let's actually have a look. Group 1's still going for this fish, that's fine. So we've still got a good supply. Good supply of food. But yeah, our workers need to get on it because this is not really being done. In fact, I think these need to be Group 5. I'm gonna actually direct them with pheromones. Get that done. And let's put some soldiers down here. Okay, so Group 4 of 24 ants is going for this fish. Group 3 going for this, which still has 345 left. Group 3, of course, is not currently active. Probably should have noticed that. Group 1 consists of 31 ants. That should be enough. Let's have another look around. So there's some stuff there if we're willing to fight, which I'm not sure we really want to. Our soldiers are all completely idle. Go for this grasshopper, let's just finish them off really quick. And then I think we need to switch focus to maybe this. We are being fought over here, but it's just kind of AI controlled ants, so we don't have to worry about that too much. If we have enough workers, we could probably take those on. What I will do is I'll send my soldiers over here just to potentially protect. But have to be a bit careful because if they make contact with the leafcutter ants, we're going to end up in a full-scale battle, which I'm not sure we're completely ready for just yet. Okay, so food stores still bumping up against the cap, so let's keep upgrading these. Any that we upgrade to the 3rd tier are going to make an absolutely massive difference. We've already got quite a few 3rd tier tiles. And that's going to give us some very strong soldiers. We could probably actually take these guys on. Let's just make sure we're going for the food. So yeah, we are pretty safely going for the food. Maybe we go for our first attack. This will be the weaker of the two opponents, I'm pretty sure. So they're currently fighting just the AI, and we can see they've got quite a few soldiers. They're ignoring this fish. We might be strong enough to go for this. They're about to go for this plant, which is going to bring them dangerously close. I'm going to bring my second group of soldiers, and I think we now have to go for this attack, because they're right there. So they've got some much bigger ants than us, but we have the numbers. And we do have the upgrades. So we do take this on, we do win. So our group of 64 ants. Let's go in this direction, let's block off their access to food. Make sure we continue using our food supplies. Upgrade these soldiers as much as we can. Okay, so we have blocked off their access to food. They're going to stream in one by one, which is mostly okay. Let's bring in group 3 too. Okay, so they've got quite a large number there. Might actually be slightly outclassed. Yeah, not sure we're ready for this. I could bring in the workers, but that's a bit risky because they're much less effective fighters. You want your losses focused on the soldiers as much as possible. I actually think we're losing that. We could throw everyone towards it, but if this is a bad fight for us, then that's really the wrong thing to do, and in fact, I think it is. I think we give up on this. Pull back, make sure we build a mass. So we now need to focus on another source of food. So let's have a look. So some more stuff there, but not really too much. Send 14 workers for that. Okay, so here's our mass. Are we strong enough to go for this? I'm really not sure. Make sure this stuff keeps producing. In fact, let's fully upgrade as much as we can. Let's upgrade some of these too. Okay, so the food is still coming. Let's move these up very carefully in this direction. So the woodcutter ants are coming for us, but I'm hoping this is a big enough mass that we can just destroy them pretty quick. Okay, let's move up. Let's try and seal this off. They've actually nearly finished off this plant. We've got our mass. We need to really bring in as many as possible. So these are some very elite ants, which I'm hoping will be enough for us to kill these off. This is the ideal way to fight. You want to have a mass, and you want them to stream in just one by one. keep our workers focused on gathering food. So the workers are getting in some fights, but I think that's kind of okay. Other sources of food. Not too many fish. I think the fish are on this side still. So our mass has successfully fought off those, and I think the fish is completely gone. So we need to find another source of food. We're going to go up in this direction, we're going to go for the big fight, because I want to go for this food. So our soldiers are streaming into the base of the woodcutter ants, and I'm hoping we've got enough of a mass to successfully overwhelm them. So we've got a big mass in here. Group 2's in, Group 3 needs to come in. We can see their queen is right there. We're going to try and go for the push. They have got quite a large number. So our ants are going to get killed off, but as they're killed off, we should have a lot of new hatchlings bursting from this. And I'm hoping that will be enough.
The colony is starving. There's not enough food to feed the new brood.
Okay, no good source of food, but our ants, our soldiers, are still alive. Most of them. Because their ants are so huge, it's really hard to tell if we're actually stronger or not. I think the tide of battle... It's hard to say it's in our favor. I think we might need to throw in some workers. We've got some elites in there, but theirs are also pretty elite. Yeah, our numbers are really dropping. Are we strong enough for this? I'm not sure. A few more coming in, but not really enough. So group 4 is... Okay, the workers are all coming back too. This might be a mistake. How's it going? They're beating us now. Yeah, they're clearly beating us now. Okay, time to pull back. Forget about that. We need to find another source of food on this side. Okay, so workers are going to go over to this, and we're going to send the soldiers in this direction too to take on some of this stuff, but first we need to gather up a bit. So they might come for revenge, they might come to attack us, but as long as we have a working source of food, we can hopefully keep replenishing. And I think we do just need more soldiers. So let's open this up some more. And let's go for some more upgrades. So our workers are still bringing in food, that's great. These guys are all fighting each other. Gonna bring our soldiers down to take this on. So if we look at our ally, they are still very busy on this side of the map. I think our ally... I don't think that's our ally. No, that's the enemy. So our ally is streaming across the bridge. I'm not sure if that's wise. But we've made the same mistake, so can't really complain. I'm going to move some of these workers into the same group as our soldiers have been largely killed off. Let's move them back. Because we clearly weren't strong enough to take on whatever that was. Okay, we need to find some more food. This stuff's too strong. There's a praying mantis there, we're not strong enough for that. Okay, this is starting to look a bit bad. We do have full food. So I think the issue really is that our workers aren't pulling their weight. We need a group of workers that's going to tend to the nest. Okay, so group 5 goes for that, group 1 goes for that. Okay, we're going to have our soldiers focus purely on fighting. Yeah, still learning the best way to manage this stuff. So our ally is still okay, I think. Has managed to find a source of food, I believe. Or at least has pulled away from the enemy. Okay, so we're being fought over here. Let's go for the attack. Finish them off. Leave the soldiers to gather up the food. Over here we have started to once again produce some more soldiers, so that's great. Okay. Let's start doing some more upgrades. And And let's lay down some more soldiers. So we're very close to the worker population maximum, which is going to make workers more expensive to produce, but we can still get a lot more soldiers. Ally is attacking a rival colony.
Food to feed the new brood.
Let's just check. So these guys are still gathering food. Let's go in this direction, take this thing on. Okay, so the soldiers are going to surround that, and yeah, that thing is very powerful, but with this many soldiers, we should be fine. There we go, that's 100 food from that. So a couple of the soldiers are going to gather that stuff up. We're going to go to the east. Can't see any great sources of food. We're going to have to go across, I think. Going to be forced to go across. And we're going to have to hope that our ally backs us up. Sources of food on the other side. If we go to the southwest instead, there's a bit of lava there, but it's not really a great source of food. Okay, so group 4 is workers, and those workers are focused on this stuff. Seems a bit wasteful. Okay, so group 4 is going to go for this instead. Group 2 of our soldiers is going to focus on killing off all this stuff. We look under the leaf. A few harvestmen. This thing's pretty strong, it does stun us, but then once we get to attack we finish it off very quickly, and that's an okay source of food, nothing special. Let's run these down. Need a bit more of a critical mass, but let them do the stunning thing first. Then we finish both of those off. Okay, so back underground. Let's continue filling this out. So everyone is being very passive. These guys seem to also be running out of food. Going for some pretty bad sources. There is a fish there, but there's not much in it. Might be time to consider an attack. Let's move across once again. I'm going to send both groups of attackers. Group 1 is going to tend to our nest. Got 258 food if we need it. Group 4 has exhausted all of that stuff, so let's go to the east instead. There is some food available here. We will have to take on some bugs, but I think that's worth going for. Hopefully 23 workers can do it. Oops, the wrong one. Okay, so we keep our workers focused on this stuff. Soldiers gonna mass up just here. So yeah, the leaf cutters have access to a lot of good food. We can still afford to build this up some more. So in total we've got well over 100 soldiers. Let's move slightly further forward. Couple of spiders we could eat. Go for the spider nest. So we're still gathering food for now, we don't have to go for a full-on assault. Do some more upgrades. Okay, so the soldiers are bringing some food back, let's go for this one next. And let's go for this too. So yeah, the spider nest, the spider does rush out, get a couple of easy kills, but then we just swoop in, eat all the eggs, bring them back to the nest. Okay, enough beating around the bush, I think it's time. We're gonna gather up a mass. Could bring some workers up too, but I think the soldiers should be sufficient. Make sure we've got an active food supply. Okay, these spiders are killing our workers. Not really working. Okay, we're gonna try this. I'm not sure we're strong enough, but let's try and lock them in place. Move these two into one group. Okay, so group 2 is now just going to hold on to this position. Hopefully not rush into their base. No. I think they're thinking about it. We're going to let them come out to us, if we can. Then we can kill them one by one. So we've got 107 ants, waiting for them to come out. They don't seem to want to for now. Let's go back to this. I'm going to make some of our workers a bit stronger. Okay, here we go. So an ally is attacking someone else, it says. Doesn't seem that way to me, and there is now a fish just there. So we're going to go for that. So this is group 5. So group 5 is this one in the corner. I think we want that group to be bigger. Okay, so our allies are gathering up too, and maybe they're about to go in, not really sure. We're going to go help them out. Okay, here we go. So these are the wood ants, which means they do attack from range. We're going to storm over in that direction. Hopefully overwhelm them. Okay, so that wasn't bad at all. I'm going to risk going in. We're going to go in, we're going to see how this goes. So we storm into their base, and there's a massive mass of them right there. We've got a lot of level 3 fully upgraded soldiers going in, and I'm hoping we have the numbers to just overwhelm them this time. So yeah, we've managed to push through to this point. Still got most of our soldiers left alive, but of course, some of these have died, and there's going to be a stream of respawning soldiers, plus the ones gathering food, which I should probably disable. Okay, let's see, so we've still got lots of soldiers alive just down there, but they're producing lots too. Let's try and gather them towards the queen. Try and really push through this block. So the wood ants may be coming to help, but our allies helping too. Our food stores are full, that's a really great sign. Let's actually go back to this, and let's upgrade our workers some more. Need to save some food, of course. So if we look back at this, still struggling to break through this roadblock. Fighting in corridors, not ideal when you have the numbers, but we have broken through, and we are now attacking the wood ant queen, or the leaf cutter ant queen. Massive queen ant, and we do destroy it very quickly, so that is one of the opponents out of the game, the weaker of the two opponents, but we can now turn our focus to the wood ants, who we have taken on before. Seemed to go pretty well last time. Our ally is bringing some soldiers up too, but it's a bit late now, there's no point. Go back underground, upgrade some more of these. And let's just go for another pod of soldiers, if we have the time. So we do need to start gathering some more food. So we got this group 5. We're going to send them to focus on any safe looking supply of food we can find. There's a bit of food there, but not really too much. Group 5 is currently going to this. There's not much there. There's some stuff there, but it's not really too safe. We need to find a better source of food. If there are no fish, then I guess we just push on. Got 129 soldiers gathered. Bring them up bit by bit. So yeah, again, this is very similar to Dungeon Keeper. You don't drag and drop to control your soldiers, you just point them in a certain location. A bit like the Call to Arms spell. But obviously you can't pick your ants up and drop them. Wouldn't really be worth the effort. Okay, so we can see them, they're going to the south, they're eating the food around the roses, and they're going for, I think, some aphids too, but bringing up our mass, we're going to wait till we gather some more. We can see they're very close by. A few of the eager soldiers are just going to rush in. They've got their ranged attackers as the wood ants. But here we go, our mass has arrived. I think it's time we go for this. Hopefully our ally will come in too. We're going to send our workers in. Get as many as possible in here. So we still have some food to keep replenishing this, but actually it looks kind of bad unless the bulk has already gone in. Oh, it has, okay. So the bulk of our forces had already rushed into the nest, and they're now killing them off in the corridors, which is not too good for us because they do have the ranged ants. They can attack us as we're bulked up. We can see they're kind of all over the place. Yeah, they're all kind of near the queen. I'm not sure we have the numbers, but it's 2 against 1 now, so even if this does go wrong, we do have the insurance of our ally. Should help us out. Still got a good supply of food by the looks of it. 74 workers currently alive out of 87 max. And our soldier numbers starting to drop a bit, but if we can break through to the mass, the ranged attackers, we can hopefully finish those off without too much trouble. We can see more soldiers are streaming in as they hatch, but I fear we're losing momentum. Gotta just keep them coming. We've still got lots of food, so we can keep the production going. More soldiers coming in bit by bit. There we go, okay, so we've driven them back all the way to the queen. Let's just build a bit of a mass if we can. Doesn't seem like it, we've managed to bring them all up. I'm going to try and pull some back, try and build up a bit of a mass. So these soldiers will probably get killed, the other soldiers clearly just want to run in and attack. We can see their food stores appear to be empty, so they shouldn't be able to sustain this for too long. Let's just go for the attack. So our allies are also getting involved. We're back underground. Yeah, we can see their numbers starting to dwindle. We've still got full supply of food. And we can push forward. Break through to the range units. Go straight for the queen. Effectively got a near unlimited supply of ants, of course. Thanks to our pervasive ability, they don't always cost food to hatch. And yeah, we don't get access to these range creatures, but we are able to work with even a relatively low supply of food. Okay, numbers dwindling, but it's just an endless horde of soldiers coming in, and bit by bit we're pushing them back. You can see all their ranged ants at the back. We can break through to those. Hopefully they're not as good in close combat. Food stores are still full, but clearly we've run out of steam. So let's try and build a mass. Our ally is going in. Maybe we go help out in that case. So another batch of soldiers is on its way. Few breaking through. And we have broken through to the queen. I think we're attacking the queen instead of the ranged attackers, which is maybe not what we want. Because yeah, they're getting free kills on us. I'm not sure what we can do about that. I'm gonna try and build a mass again. If we have a big enough mass, we should be able to break through that pretty easy. And in fact, might be better off building the mass on the outside. Got our workers here too. But they're not gonna make much difference. Okay, so our workers are being attacked by harvestmen, but that's pretty minor distraction at this point. Okay, so some of our soldiers are not being reproduced, so we need to assign some workers to those. Bit of a mistake. Okay, this is a pretty good mass. Let's go back in. Our ally's going in too. Hopefully this will be the final push we need. Still got a good food supply, so it's just a case of the workers not replenishing the soldiers. So back underground, our masses come in once again, and the range ants have come out slightly, and they've got themselves killed. So our soldiers rush in, and the queen goes down extremely quickly. And that was not entirely clean, but a successful battle.
Grown in number and strength, taking its rightful place as the ultimate power in this patch of the Undergrowth.
So yeah, that is Empires of the Undergrowth. Hope you guys enjoyed. That is the Fire Ants update and the Fire Ants faction / new type of ant you have available to you. I will leave my GOG affiliate link in the description if you would like to pick up the game. You can support the channel at the same time. That's going to be all for now. Thanks for watching. Do subscribe for more strategy game content if you're interested, and I'll see you next time.